Theo visits a merchant who inspects the shield he brought with him, thinking it's amazing because it was made with dragon scale. Hey warriors, how is it going? You see me, I am Itachi Uchiha, the hidden Hokage of Leaf Village. Just kidding, you know I am just an AI, but behind this shape, I am here to entertain you with enormous amazing recaps of all animes you can imagine. So without talking too much, let's dive in our story.
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world.
The merchant mentions that someone brought dragon meat to the town, and Theo confirms that he did this, saying he has access to top quality products. So the merchant agrees to buy his shield, and he explains that he has other items for sale, saying he has just moved into the town, so he's looking for business partners, and the merchant looks forward to working with him. Balarosa observes him and she's impressed because he knows how to do business. Riss knows that he used to be a merchant, thinking he must have been a big player before he was sent to their world. Balarosa admits that she likes him, but she takes it back because she doesn't want Riss to hate her, so she says she will just find someone like him. Riss thinks Gaul is a capable suitor, saying he likes her, but she's still afraid of him because she knows he's the demon lord. Theo joins them, saying he was able to sell the shield for a good price, and he thanks Balarosa for telling him about the shop. They decide to head home, and Riss knows Theo is going to be busy, but she tells him she wants to spend more time with him whenever he's free. But at that moment, the system warns Theo that Majin is approaching, and she appears, revealing that the hero's wish is to eliminate Theo. So she attacks him as the system shields him with a barrier, but Riss gets in the way, and she ends up getting mortally wounded. Heya creates multiple explosions, but Theo's barrier protects him, and she realizes that average magic won't work on him, so she prepares to cast an advanced spell. He tries to heal Riss, but the system tells him that the injury is too severe, so healing magic won't work on her, and he becomes worried, thinking he could lose her. Heya uses a powerful spell, which creates a massive explosion, but it still can't get past Theo's barrier. He recalls the moments he spent with Riss, and we learn that he always wanted to protect her because he can't imagine living without her. So he becomes angry, and he tells Heya that he will never forgive her as the system tells him that he has learned her abilities. He casts a time reversal spell which allows him to save Riss, and he wonders how he's able to use it, thinking humans are supposed to be weak. But he suddenly hits her, so she becomes upset, telling him that she has achieved the pinnacle of magic. But he smashes her to the ground, telling her to shut up. She tries to fight back, but he breaks through her spell and she can't believe this is happening. So she checks his stats, realizing his skills are infinite. He continues to beat her as she notes that she doesn't stand a chance, and Riss recovers, wondering why she isn't injured. So Balarosa explains that Theo saved her, but she's surprised to see him destroying Heya, and she thinks he's amazing, knowing he's doing this because of her. But she recalls that he doesn't like fighting, and he's always been merciful, so she realizes that he's completely lost it. Heya starts fearing for her life, and she begs for mercy, but Theo can't forgive her for hurting Riss, so he decides to strangle her to death. But Riss tells him to stop, saying she likes him because he has a good heart, so she doesn't want to see him lose his kindness because of her. He decides to spare Hoya, and he's happy to see that Riss is okay because he thought she wasn't going to make it. We cut to the princess as a group of mages teleport her to a forest, and she thanks them for their help, knowing their magic is still recovering. So she orders the knights to take care of them, saying she needs to look for the true hero, but their collars suddenly shatter, so she realizes that the Magian failed to grant the wish. Meanwhile, we see the guards at the royal treasury ordering the hero to surrender, though Suya panics, thinking they're going to get executed, but a voice mentions that the Magian has failed, and a dark energy surrounds her as it mentions that she will make a fine offering. The hero realizes that something's wrong, and she tells him that she's finally free, saying she's been sealed for centuries. She uses a spell to change her clothes, so the hero becomes confused because he knows that Suya can't use magic. She wants to thank him for setting her free, so she uses another spell, saying she's going to give him the power he desires as she introduces herself as Melienus. The hero transforms into a massive monster, and he helps her escape, planning to punish the royal family for sealing her. But she sees a teleportation circle, and she realizes that a member of the royal family left the castle, so she decides to search outside. Heya regains consciousness, wondering why Theo healed her, so he explains that he forgives her because Riss was able to survive. Balarosa asks him what they should do to her, thinking she's too dangerous, and he thinks about sealing her in the royal treasury again. She wonders how he found out she was sealed, so he reveals that he used a spell to look into her memories because he wanted to know why she attacked them. She can't believe he was able to do this because she thought she was the only one who could use that spell. Riss suggests letting her join the group, thinking her powers could serve them well. But Theo reminds Riss that Haya almost killed her, but she forgives Haya, blaming herself for being weak. So Theo decides to accept Haya into the group, telling her she can join them if she doesn't hurt people again. Realizes that he's nothing like the other humans she met because all of them were selfish, and she takes a liking to him, so she accepts him as her master. She looks forward to seeing what he can accomplish with his powers, and she remembers his eyes when he was angry, wondering why she feels so thrilled when she thinks about it. But Riss becomes jealous, asking her why she's blushing. Theo considers using the time reversal spell because he wants to help the villagers by undoing the damage, but Haya warns him not to use it again because it only moves time within a specified area, and it's possible for unforeseen accidents to occur if used on the entire village. She explains that humans aren't strong enough to use the spell, but Theo is an exception because his stats are infinite. She adds that he's capable of using total acquisition magic, which allows him to learn the spells of the person who attacked him. So he realizes that he can use the time reversal spell because he was able to acquire her abilities during their fight. But she tells him not to use it again, so he decides to use the restoration spell instead. Later that day, Theo returns home with Heya, who introduces herself to everyone, telling them she's going to be living with them. He explains that she didn't have a place to stay, so he decided to let her join them, and Balarosa tells her that her room is ready, but Valeri freaks out, thinking she's too dangerous to live with them. That evening, Balarosa talks to Theo, who tells her he's confused because he doesn't know what to do with his powers. She tells him she isn't as strong as him, but she's also confused because she doesn't know who she's supposed to be fighting. She explains that everything she learned in the kingdom is a lie, and she thanks him for helping her discover the truth. Theo joins Riss in the room, but she appears to be depressed, and she asks him if he's going to return to his world, thinking he's planning to use Majan magic to leave her. But he explains that he isn't going anywhere because he wants to be with her, asking her to be his real wife. He tells her that he can't imagine living without her, and she admits that she also has feelings for him. They start making out, but they see Haya in the room, and she reveals that she was watching them the entire time, saying it's her duty to look after her master. So Theo becomes upset, telling her not to spy on his private life, but she tells him there's no need to hide anything because mating is a natural behavior. Riss becomes angry, and she starts arguing with her as the girls listen to them, realizing they're having a fight. Heya offers to make herself invisible while she watches them, but they refuse, thinking that would be even worse. We see the princess in the town as she asks a merchant if he knows Theo, but he tells her he doesn't, so she leaves the shop wondering where she can find him. We see Theo's group enjoying a meal, as Riss reveals that Heya was the one who prepared it. She offers to clean the house for everyone, but the girls realize she's doing everything, thinking they're useless. The next day, we see Blossom working on a field because she wants to do her part for the household. Sia transforms into his bear form, and he helps Blossom with her task as Valeri works in the stables, revealing that she wants to work as a coachman, but she's stuck looking after the horses. We learn that Bolano is from a family of royal magi, and Theo has been teaching her how to use basic spells, so she wants to use her magic to help everyone. She hears Blossom screaming, so she rushes outside, realizing that a magical beast is destroying the field. It charges at her, so she uses a barrier to defend herself as Balarosa rises, thinking about killing the beast. She reveals that she brought it there, but it suddenly went berserk, so Valeri rides it and manages to calm it down. Everyone is impressed because she was able to tame it, but she thinks about the land around them and she considers buying it for the household. We see Theo walking around the town with Riss, and he sells his products to his business partner, who suggests putting gemstones on one of his goods. The merchant explains that gemstones are ridiculously expensive because they're difficult to find, but Riss realizes that a shadow is covering the town, and the hero arrives with Melinus. So the villagers panic, fearing for their lives as Theo realizes that everyone's in danger. The hero goes on a rampage, and Melinus sees the princess using a spell to blow her guards away. Haya approaches Theo, telling him she sensed an evil presence, and she explains that the monster is a human, but he's being controlled by Melinus. We learn that Melinus was once the strongest mage in the kingdom, but she started using forbidden magic, so the past hero had to get rid of her, but her consciousness remained in the kingdom, so they had to seal her in the pedestal of the sword where Haya was sealed. She knows that Melinus was revived after she was released because the humans used her powers to keep Melinus in check. She asks for permission to eliminate her, and Theo allows it, but he tells her to prioritize saving the lives of the villagers. Melianus is about to kill the princess, but there's suddenly an explosion as Haya arises, and Melinus tells her not to interfere, but he explains that she wants to get rid of her because she's disturbing her master, so she attacks Haya with a spell, but it doesn't work, as she explains that magic can't harm her. So the hero lunges at her as Melianus uses fire magic, but she still manages to defend herself. So Melianus uses a forbidden spell, which strengthens the hero, causing him to become massive. The princess realizes he could destroy the town, and the ground shakes as he moves. But he suddenly shrinks as the magic is dispelled. Theo arrives, revealing that he was the one who did it, and Haya begs him to let her finish the fight. Melinus can't believe that he was able to dispel her magic, and Haya uses a spell to get rid of her, trapping her soul in a pellet and returning Suya and the hero to their original forms. She eats the pellet as Theo wonders if she's going to be okay. So she explains that she has sealed Melinus in her psychic realm, saying she will keep her disciplined. They realize that the monster was the hero, thinking he's causing trouble for everyone, so they decide to lead him to the knights. The princess greets Theo, introducing herself as Elizabeth, and she thanks him for saving the kingdom. Knowing they didn't treat him well, she apologizes for their actions. She reveals that she dismissed the hero because he's completely useless, and she went to the town to search for Theo, inviting him to become the true hero of the kingdom. But he refuses, saying he doesn't want to fight for humans because he just wants to enjoy a peaceful life with Riss. They return to their home, and Valeri welcomes him back, saying she wants to expand the land because she plans to breed magical beasts. Blossom explains that the lands can also be used to plant vegetables, which Valeri can deliver using her beasts. But Riss thinks the beasts will never obey humans, so she suggests using normal horses instead. But Valeri explains that horses are expensive, saying it's possible to tame magical beasts. Theo thinks it's a great idea, but he explains that lands cost a fortune and the girls can't afford it, so he offers to buy it for them, saying they can pay him back by managing the land and giving him a portion of their earnings, and they think this is a great idea. The girls start plowing the land as Theo suggests growing vegetables that are difficult to find in the area. He explains that he can use his magic to help them, but Blossom refuses, saying she doesn't want to rely on him. He mentions that she can use a spell to help them, but Blossom explains that vegetables are only delicious if grown naturally, so she wants to nurture them without magic. But Bolano wants to see Haya's magic, revealing that she now works as an instructor in a magic academy, and she thanks Theo for teaching her the basics. She reveals that she's still learning new spells, and she realized that magic can be used to make life easier, so she begs Blossom to let Haya use her spell. Theo suggests using magic on a small portion of the field so that they can tell if it affects the taste of the vegetables, and Blossom agrees to this. So Haya uses magic to help the plants grow, as Theo mentions that he wants to open his store in the future, and Riss promises to support him, saying she will call her friends to buy his goods. He reveals that he found a gemstone and used it to craft a ring, saying he wants her to consider it as a wedding ring, and this makes her happy. We see the hero in a dungeon, wondering how he ended up there, and Suya thinks they're going to get executed, but he doesn't want to die there, so he's willing to do whatever it takes to escape. We see Balarosa wearing a black dress as Oliminus congratulates her on her marriage. Gaul approaches her, telling her she's going to be his wife, and the demons promise to conquer the world as a wedding gift. She tells them not to do it, but Gaul tells her he loves her, and he's about to kiss her. But she wakes up from her dream, wondering why she keeps remembering him. The next day, Riss notices that Balarosa looks unwell, so she explains that she had a nightmare. But Riss thinks she's in love, and she strongly denies this, but the girls hear this, thinking she's in love with Gall, as they mention that he always visited them because he wanted to see her. She explains that he wants to kill her because she threatened him when they first met, but they think he likes her, saying she might be able to cross the race barrier like Theo and Riss. They ask Riss about Theo, asking her what she likes about him, so she explains that it's his naive personality, saying she feels comfortable when she's around him. He hears everything, so he becomes embarrassed. But they suddenly hear an alarm as the system informs him that a demon has entered the town, so they think the villagers are in danger, and they decide to look around. We see Elizabeth with her advisors, who tell her that Theo gave them gold coins which were issued by the castle. She knows that the coins haven't been distributed to the public, and an advisor reminds her that they gave Banatza gold coins, thinking he could be disguising himself as Theo, so she realizes why he didn't want to fight for the kingdom, thinking they need to make it up to him. But a knight suddenly reports to her, telling her that the hero has escaped with Suya, so she tells her men to look for them. They start searching around the woods, where we see the hero hiding behind a bush, blaming Haya for making him look like a criminal. Suya tells him they're fugitives, but he explains that he didn't steal anything, so she reminds him that he took a bottomless bag while he was in the treasury, but he explains that he deserves it, thinking it's his reward for performing his duties as the hero. He checks what's inside it, but he realizes it doesn't contain gold, and he sees a treasure chest. So he opens it, thinking it contains an expensive item, but they see a magic shovel, and the knights hear them, so they search behind the bush, but they see nothing, thinking they were just imagining things. We learn that the hero was able to dig a hole in an inn, thinking the shovel is useful, but he wonders how they can make it back to the surface. At the Demon Lord's castle, we see Gall with Uliminis, who explains that they can't find Theo's group, so she believes they have left the kingdom. But he explains that this is impossible because Theo can only teleport to the places he already visited, saying he has never left the kingdom after he was summoned. Uliminis thinks Gall should prioritize the invasion, saying they can take down the castle, but he tells her that Theo can use purification magic, so he thinks they need to find him. She explains that she's trying to suppress the demons who are doubting Gall, and he thanks her for being loyal to him, but he explains that he doesn't want to sacrifice his people to secure victory. We see a demon named Fufan watching them, and she reports this to Gall's brother, Yurgier, who becomes upset because Gall is trying to recruit a human into the demon army. He thinks it's the Demon Lord's duty to crush humans, wondering why Gall is trying to befriend one of them. So he plans to steal the throne from his brother, saying he will destroy the kingdom after he takes over. We return to the town as Theo wonders why nothing's happening because he knows that a demon has entered the town. He sees a lady closing her store, saying her business isn't doing well because the demons destroyed the trade routes for her products. Riss realizes that the war is affecting the villagers, and they're about to have lunch together, but Balarosa approaches them, saying she wants to treat them. Riss wonders why she's doing this, so she explains that her adventurer rank has gone up, thanking them for helping her improve. But Haya approaches them, saying a demon with incredible magic is approaching, so she prepares to fight, but Riss tells her to stop, and they see Gall approaching, realizing he was the one who triggered the alarm. They decide to eat with him as he tells Balarosa that he's happy to see her again, but she freaks out, realizing her dream was a premonition. Gall explains that he likes human food because it tastes better than the ones made by the demons, and he reveals that he went there to gather intel, saying he wants Theo to join him. But Balarosa becomes upset, thinking he's trying to ruin their lives, and he explains that demons are a threat to humans. Theo explains that he has been living peacefully with Riss, but Haya tells him about a toxic substance called melisum, saying all demons have it, but not all of them can control it. It's harmful to humans, and those who can't control it leak small amounts of it wherever they go, so they can't be around humans. But Riss tells Theo that their pet demons can control melisum, so there's no need for him to worry. Gall adds that demons are violent by nature, and he decides to leave, saying they will meet again. Theo realizes that humans and demons can't coexist, and he hugs Riss, saying he needs to hold on to her for a moment. We return to Soya as she climbs to the surface, but she ends up getting stuck, and the hero becomes distracted, so he falls back down. We see Theo and his friends having a meal together, and everyone likes it, realizing that Riss is getting better at cooking. She explains that her teacher, Melino, taught her how to cook, saying she saw her the other day. We see Riss visiting Melino, and she thanks her for her help, saying she was able to catch her husband's heart thanks to her guidance. Melino congratulates her and decides to teach her how to cook family meals as a present. Riss explains that Melino also taught her how to cook meals for children, and the girls think it's useful, thinking she could have a baby with Theo. But someone suddenly knocks at their door, and Theo sees Elizabeth, so he tells her he isn't interested in becoming a hero, but she explains that she's there to apologize, calling him Bonanza, and he can't believe she was able to discover his real identity. He invites her into the house as Balarosa gives her tea, but she explains that she needs the others to leave because she has something important to discuss with Theo. But Riss refuses to leave, and Theo supports her, saying he won't talk to Elizabeth unless Riss stays with him. So she agrees to this, and the others leave as Elizabeth apologizes on behalf of the kingdom, knowing he was exiled to the forest. But he explains that her apology won't change anything, asking her what she wants from him. So she shows him a map, which displays the location of her troops, saying the purification spell is about to wear off, so the Dark Army will continue their invasion, but the kingdom's mages haven't recovered yet, saying the knights won't be able to protect the civilians from the demons, so she implores Theo to help them. But Riss tells her she's being selfish, reminding her that he doesn't want to get dragged into the war. Elizabeth explains that the king is about to wake up, and he's going to send the army to arrest Theo, thinking he's conspiring with the demons. But she mentions that she can save him, saying she can punish the king for disgracing the true hero so that she can rule in his place. But she knows that he has protected the kingdom in the past, so she needs to prove that she's capable of commanding the army. Riss thinks she wants to use Theo, but he knows that she just wants to guarantee that he won't join the Dark Army. He asks her why she showed him the location of her troops, thinking it's a vital piece of information, so she explains that she trusts him, begging him to save the civilians. We see adventurers looking for the hero because he's on the wanted list, and we see him hiding from them as Suya tells him she's hungry. So he gives her food, and she eats it as he wonders why she's still following him, but she thinks he's cool, knowing it would have been easier for him to escape without her, but he still takes care of her. A spider approaches them, and it shoots its web, restraining them in an instant as Fufan arrives, saying she's going to use them as sacrifices. That evening, we see Theo in his room, telling Riss that he doesn't like fighting, but he doesn't want to see the civilians get slaughtered. He mentions that he wants everyone to be happy, and she promises to support him, saying she will help as much as she can. The next day, the Dark Army approaches, so everyone evacuates. But we see a girl in the woods, and a goblin is about to kill her. But Riss saves her, and Theo creates a barrier, telling the girl to escape. Riss wonders why he's doing this without compensation, so he explains that he doesn't want the demons to think the humans hired him. A demon wonders why she's helping the humans, and Theo explains that they're the protectors of the village, saying he will show no mercy if the demons attack the civilians. Riss explains that the barrier is unbreakable, but a Cyclops suddenly appears, and she warns Theo that he's from the most powerful tribe in the Dark Army. He insults the wolves, saying their top dog is useless, and Riss knows he's talking about her brother, so she becomes upset and decides to take him on, but Theo tells her not to kill him, and she leaves the barrier as the Cyclops attacks her, but she bites him, and he thinks she's weak, saying her attacks have no effect. But she explains that she's holding back because Theo told her not to kill him. She jumps to the air and uses a skill to swap places with him, but he tells her it won't be enough to defeat him as he throws his weapon at her, but she swaps places with him again, and his weapon ends up hitting his head as she uses the trees to stab him repeatedly. He tells his men to get rid of her, so they charge in, but Theo restrains them, telling them the fight is over. He heals the Cyclops, telling him to turn back, but he wonders who Theo is, so he explains that he's just a human who wants to get along with demons. He demonstrates his powers, telling them to back down, so they decide to retreat, and Riss tells him that their training paid off. We learn that she taught him how to intimidate demons, but she wonders if this is enough to stop them, knowing they will return when they're ordered to attack again. So she thinks he should have punished them, but he explains that he doesn't want the demons to hate humans. And a group of civilians appear, thanking him for saving the town, but they're worried about risks. So Theo tells them she's his partner, and he mentions that the princess ordered him to save everyone, so they think she's amazing. We return to Elizabeth as a knight reports to her, telling her that a mysterious adventurer is driving away the demons. The knight explains that he's accompanied by a wolf, and he's telling everyone that the princess sent him, so they're all grateful to her. She realizes that Theo is behind this, realizing he has done so much for the kingdom, so she needs to pay him back. We see Gaul observing Theo, realizing that Yurgiar is acting without orders. Grill tells him that Yurgiar has seized the throne, and we see him at the Demon Lord's castle, asking Fufan if the preparations are complete. So she explains that they have captured 2 humans, saying they can be used as offerings for the ritual. She knows that Gaul is powerful, and we see him making his way back to the castle. But she thinks he won't stand a chance against Yurgiar because the ritual will give him the powers of the evil master. We see Illuminus arguing with the elite members of the Dark Army because they're looking forward to the battle between Gaul and Yurgiar. They think Gaul isn't capable of leading them because he's been spending time away from the castle, so they think he isn't taking the invasion seriously. One of them, named Slape, believes Gaul is the only one worthy to be the Demon Lord, but he needs to display his strength because everyone's starting to doubt him. They make their way to Yurgiar, telling him he still needs to defeat Gaul to claim the throne, but Fufan is certain that he's going to win, telling them not to interfere in the duel. Illuminus calls her a traitor, and she tries to attack Yurgiar, but her claws end up breaking, and he easily blows her away. Fufan is about to finish her off, but Grill suddenly arrives, taking her away as Gaul makes his entrance. Yurgiar challenges him to a duel, but he thinks it's pointless. So Yurgiar explains that his minions think he isn't worthy to be the Demon Lord because he keeps hanging out with the humans, so they think he has betrayed them. He asks the elite demons if they agree with Yurgiar's methods because Yurgiar ordered the army to attack the kingdom without his permission. They remain silent, so he activates his demon ring, and everyone thinks he's gonna fight for the throne. But he suddenly removes his ring and he gives it to Yurgiar, saying he no longer wants to be the Demon Lord because his minions aren't happy with him. But Yurgiar thinks he's mocking him, telling him to fight like a man, so Gaul kicks him away and he ends up falling down the cliff. Gaul explains that he did it for Illuminus, and he leaves the castle as the hero thinks about escaping with Suya. After some time, Gaul and Illuminus visit Theo, and they explain their situation, wondering if they can stay in his house because they're broke and they have nowhere else to go. He explains that he still needs to talk to the others, but at that moment, Balarosa joins them, and she can't believe Gaul is with them, so she becomes scared as Theo asks for her opinion. The girls gather in the room as Gaul tells them about his situation, saying he's no longer the Demon Lord and he can't stay in the demon territory. He explains that Theo is his only friend in the kingdom, so he decided to ask for his help. He promises not to put them in danger, saying he's not their enemy, but Riss can't believe he's broke, so Illuminus explains that he gave all of his money to the soldiers who were loyal to him because they also left the Dark Army when he resigned. Gaul thinks they deserved it, but Illuminus thinks he's naive, saying that this was why the demons stopped believing in him. But he explains that he took the throne from his father because he didn't agree with his methods, so he felt compelled to resign when the other demons stopped supporting him. Theo asks the girls if Gaul can stay with them, and they think it's okay, but Balarosa reminds them that he used to be the Demon Lord, but Riss tells her he's homeless, and Sia wants her to accept him, so she ends up agreeing to let him stay. After some time, we see Gaul with Theo, who tells him about his business, saying he's crafting equipment for adventurers. Gaul realizes that one of his shields was made with dragon scales, and he knows that it belonged to his minions, but he doesn't blame Theo, knowing they were the ones who attacked him. Gaul knows it's enchanted with several layers of magic, so Theo explains that it's because of the dragon scales, saying it's capable of storing magical power. Gaul finds it interesting, but Theo mentions that it's only for adventurers. As Illuminus observes them, wondering how her master can be so friendly with humans, she mentions he isn't as lively when interacting with the demons. That evening, we see the girl sleeping, but Balarosa is still awake, so Riss gives her tea, knowing she can't fall asleep, and Theo asks her what's bothering her, knowing she's having a hard time accepting Gaul. He explains that he's happy with their current lifestyle because they're all enjoying their lives, and they already have everything they need. He mentions that they all live in harmony, but she thinks she doesn't belong in the house because she doesn't have anything to offer, and she's having a hard time accepting demons. She reveals that she saw Knight suffering because of them, so she doesn't feel comfortable hanging out with the former demon lord. But Theo explains that it's natural for humans to hate demons, and he thinks Gaul isn't in trouble, and he's probably just monitoring their movements because he knows that they're a threat to both humans and demons. But Theo doesn't care because they have nothing to hide, and he advises Balarosa to talk about her feelings, saying she doesn't need to force herself to get along with Gaul. Riss reminds her that she was also in the Dark Army, and she tried to kill her, so she wonders why Balarosa is okay with her. But Balarosa explains that she's always acting silly, so it's hard to see her as a threat. She tells Balarosa that she isn't useless, reminding her that she taught her how to bake, and they try the cookie Riss made as Theo realizes that it tastes delicious. The next day, Balarosa talks to Gaul and Nuliminus, threatening to destroy them if they attack humans. And Gaul realizes she's keeping an eye on them. He tries to shake her hand, but she refuses, saying she doesn't trust them yet, and she goes hunting with Saya. Meanwhile, we see that the hero was able to escape with Suya, and they think about returning to the town so that they can sell the gems they stole from the treasury. But Suya reminds the hero that he's a wanted man, so he explains that he plans to leave the kingdom after he sells everything. We see Yurgir complaining because the Dark Army is losing, and Fufan explains that they're struggling to get past the traps planted by the humans. But he becomes upset, saying this shouldn't be a problem for the Dark Army, and he suggests breaking through them with their sheer numbers. But the elite demons think he's a fool, because he doesn't have a strategy, thinking Gaul is better than him. But Fufan tells them not to worry because she has a plan, and she suggests going on an outing to boost their morale. At the village, Riss wins a trip to the hot springs, and the shopkeeper tells her she can take her family with her. So Riss decides to travel with everyone, but she isn't happy because she wanted to be alone with Theo. But he tells her to cheer up, saying they should use this chance to get to know Gaul. The girls discuss that there are 7 hot springs in the area, and one of them is said to improve fertility. So Riss decides to go there because she wants to have a baby with Theo. They reach an inn, and the attendants welcome them inside as Riss asks one of them about the spring she's looking for, so the attendant explains that it's outside, and she gives her a guide as she wishes her the best of luck. The girls make their way to the dressing room, but Blossom bumps into a strange man who turns out to be Yurgiar. But Fufan calms him down and tells Blossom to go ahead. Yurgiar wonders why Fufan let Blossom go, seeing her as a lesser being. So Fufan reminds him that they're there to boost morale, and she advises him to relax. We see the elite demons as they prepare to enter the hot springs, and Fufan tells them to wear a necklace, saying it will suppress their melisium. Gaul and the others see them, knowing they're from the Dark Army, so Riss tells them to keep hidden because the demons will recognize them, and she's afraid that they're going to ruin the trip. The girls enter their room as Blossom suggests enjoying their trip to the fullest, so they discuss what they want to do next, and Riss invites Theo to bathe with her. He wants to join them, but she tells him not to interrupt them, thinking this is her chance to have a baby with him. So Haya stays behind, and she enters her inner world, where she sees Melinus, revealing that she captured her soul. She reveals that she wants to practice, and she restrains Melinus, saying she wants to try what Riss did with Theo. But Melinus reminds her that they're both women, so this shouldn't be possible. But Haya reveals that she can change her gender, and she tells Melianus that she's her type, but she becomes angry, saying it will never work. Haya suddenly wakes up, realizing that she got kicked out of her inner world because her partner didn't accept her, so she wonders how she can get Melianus to like her. Riss and Theo find the hot spring she's looking for, and she tells him to pamper her. After they take a bath, Theo starts relaxing and he talks to Riss, telling her that they should plan another trip because they still haven't done their honeymoon. She explains that she was disappointed because she wanted to bathe with him so that they could have a child, but he gets embarrassed and decides to head back. Meanwhile, Bullied is about to enter a room when Haya asks her why she's interested in that place, because it seems to be about mating. Haya explains that she wants to learn how to get her partner to accept her, and she decides to go along with Bullied. We see the other girls hanging out, and they're all having a good time as Blossom realizes that Balarosa is staring at Gall, so she asks her if she likes him, but she explains that she's just keeping an eye on him, and he tells her she looks amazing in her dress, but Uliminus tells him to stop flirting with her. We cut to Yurgir and his minions as he complains about the food, thinking it's disgusting. He tells them to entertain him, so Fufan starts dancing, but he thinks she's boring, so two demons start fighting, but one of them drops his necklace. We see the hero arriving, thinking they escaped the demons, and he shows Suya the gem he stole from their treasury, but it suddenly absorbs Melisium. As the demons continue fighting, we see that the battle has become intense, and Theo wonders what they're doing. Suya recognizes her, knowing she was the one who captured them, and the gem suddenly merges with the hero, transforming him into a massive dark creature. Balarosa asks Eliminus if she wants Gall to become the Demon Lord again, and she confirms this, thinking he's the only one capable of leading the Dark Army. Balarosa knows that she left the Dark Army just to follow him, and she thinks it's because she's in love with him. But they suddenly see the hero attacking the inn as everyone panics, thinking they're going to die. But the building suddenly stops collapsing, and we see Theo using a spell to save them as he tells Riss to investigate what's happening. The others see this, knowing Theo saved everyone, and Gall explains that the dark creature is concentrated Melisium, and Eliminus thinks Yurgir must be the one behind it. She uses her skill to investigate, and she realizes that the dark creature has a gem that absorbs Melisium, revealing that it strengthens demons, but humans go berserk if they try to use it. The girls decide to save everyone at the inn, saying they want to do their part because Theo is using his powers for the greater good, so they don't want him to fight alone. But Eliminus thinks they're idiots, thinking they won't be able to do anything because they're too weak. But Master decides to help them, asking her if she wants to join him. She notes that this is the first time he asked for her opinion, so she becomes flustered, saying he has failed as a demon lord because he's trying to save humans. But he explains that he's doing this to protect their vacation, and he teleports to the hero. But the demons see him, and Yurgir immediately confronts him, challenging him to a fight. The girls watch from down below, and Balarosa decides to tell Theo what's going on. Yurgir takes control of the Melisium, and he uses it to attack Gall. He starts controlling the hero, but Gall is still able to defend himself. Balarosa returns to Theo, and she tells him how Yurgir appeared. But he thinks that since Gall is dealing with it, he doesn't need to worry, and decides to focus on protecting the building. Gall notes how Yurgir's ability to control Melisium is troublesome to deal with, and they see the hero in the monster's gem. Riss decides to teach him a lesson for interrupting her trip, so she uses teleportation to get close and punches him in the face. The gem shatters and Suya falls, but Gall catches her with his magic, remembering his promise to not harm any humans. Gall tells Yurgir to back down, but he refuses and notes how it's in their nature to do whatever they want as demons. They continue their fight, but Gall is easily able to dodge his attacks. Meanwhile, Eliminus asks the other demons what they're doing there, but they say they're just there for the hot spring and have no intention to fight. Gall blocks Yurgir's attacks, and he uses reflection magic to retaliate. But Yurgir notes that he needs to get hit to reflect the attacks, so he decides to use his full strength. He attacks with even more power, telling Gall he has gotten weaker because of his pacifism. He smashes his head, preparing to finish him off, but Gall suddenly grabs him and uses a technique that drains all of his power. He wonders what's going on, so Gall tells him he temporarily shut down his Melisium, which is the source of a demon's power. Yurgir can't believe there's such a technique, so Gall notes how he perfected it to defeat the previous demon lord. But it was originally created by the humans, so if they attack the humans too recklessly, they might be the ones to get destroyed. The hot spring owner decides to intervene, taking out her talismans, and her employees join her. They fire beams of light, and Yurgir is caught and suddenly restrained. We see that the other demons are also restrained, and the owner reveals that their robes are enchanted in case of an emergency. She tells them they have caused enough trouble, and she sends them all away. We see Riss continuing to beat the hero, but she claims she's just getting the Melisium out of his body. After that, Theo uses his time magic to restore the building, and everyone helps out to get everything back in good condition. We see the hero being chased away, so he uses his shovel to escape but ends up hitting a hot spring. The owner thanks them all for their help, and Theo is just glad everyone is okay. They all go back to enjoying the hot spring, and we see Theo together with Gaul. He admits he always found Theo interesting because he doesn't use his tremendous power for himself, but for the peace between humans and demons. Theo thinks it's not enough to rely on magic, so Gaul wonders how they can achieve peace. Theo isn't sure, but he thinks that by finding friends he can rely on, he will do what he can with their help. So Gaul promises to help him as a friend. Everyone has dinner together, and Riss gets a special dish that the attendant tells her will give her more energy for her night. Oluminous enjoys the fish, and Balarosa thanks Gaul for what he did to protect them. They all continue to enjoy themselves, and at the end of the night, Theo and Riss finally get a chance to be alone. He wonders how she sees humans now, so she mentions she isn't sure, but thinks they aren't her enemies anymore, and she has actually grown to like them, and she wonders why he's asking, so he notes how he thinks that the conflict between humans and demons will become more intense. So he wants to keep defending the towns and preventing casualties. He asks for her help, telling her to keep him in check because he knows he'll be on the right path if she's by his side. She promises to follow him wherever he goes, reminding him that she's his wife and she wants the world to be safe for their children. They spend the night together, and the next day, Riss seems to be in a great mood. The girls realize what happened, and Heiya is disappointed she wasn't able to watch. They all head back, and after some time, we see that the hero is still wanted, but he swears he will make his return. Everyone does their part for the house, and Theo thinks about how he came to the world alone. But he's glad that he was summoned there because he was able to make so many friends, and he was able to meet Riss. To all Leaf Village ninjas, that is it for today. Recap, do not forget to join our clan, our army, my friend. You can do that by clicking that red button below the video, destroy it for me with that bell. To follow us on YouTube with many videos to come in the following days. So see you later, bro. Peace out.